Well, good morning and welcome back. This is At First Glance. My name is Jared Wasson.
Good to be with you, Jared. I'm Pastor Michael Miller. Glad to be back with all of you.
Good to see you, good pastor. It's been a while.
It has.
So today, we are going to be going through the parable of the dishonest manager.
Kind of a curious story.
Kind of a curious story. It's interesting. Can't wait to get into it. If you're following along at home, this is Luke 16, 1 through 13. Is that right? Yes, it is right.
Mhm.
Luke 16, 1 through 13. Should we get right into it?
Let's do it.
Then Jesus said to his disciples, "There was a rich man who had a manager, and charges were brought to him that this man was squandering his property. So he summoned him and said to him, 'What is this that I hear about you? Give me an accounting of your management, because you cannot be my manager any longer.' Then the manager said to himself, 'What will I do now that my master is taking the position away from me? I am not strong enough to dig, and I am ashamed to beg. I have decided what to do so that when I am dismissed as manager, people may welcome me into their homes.' So summoning his master's debtors one by one, he asked the first, 'How much do you owe my master?' He answered, 100 jugs of olive oil. He said to him, 'Take your bill, sit down quickly and make it 50. Then he asked another, 'How much do you owe?' He replied, 100 containers of wheat. He said to him, 'Take your bill and make it 80. And his master commended his dishonest manager because he had acted shrewdly. For the children of this age are more shrewd in dealing with their own generation than they are with the children of than are the children of light. And I tell you, make friends for yourself by means of dishonest wealth, so that when it is gone, they may welcome you into the eternal homes. Whoever is faithful in very little is faithful also in much, and whoever is dishonest in a very little is dishonest also in much. If then you have not been faithful with a dishonest wealth, who will entrust you to the true riches? And if you have not been faithful with what belongs to another, who will give you what is your own? No slave can serve two masters, for a slave will either hate one and love the other, or be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and wealth." So this is an interesting one, Pastor.
It is.
It sounds here like Jesus is defending dishonesty for shrewdness. But that's not true, is it?
Yeah, I've been pondering this today as we were preparing for this. The first thing that caught my attention was that the manager has been accused of squandering the rich man's wealth. It's the same word as in the story right before this, the man and his two sons, where the younger son asks for his inheritance ahead of time and then goes off and squanders it in a foreign country. And both have kind of surprise endings, because when the younger son comes back after everything fails in that far country, his father, rather than rejecting him for all that he's wasted, runs out to greet him and welcomes him home and has a party for him. And here, the rich man who's letting him go because he's accused of squandering it sees what he does here, where he gives
Everyone a discount.
everybody gets a free discount at the rich man's expense, and he's like, "Cool, that was smart."
He commends him for his dishonest. Well, I don't know if he commends for his dishonesty. No, he does commend the dishonest manager because he acted shrewdly. Well, what the heck does that mean, Pastor? What does that mean for us?
I think the way that I take this, I'll start from the end.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's talking about you can't serve God and wealth. And so he's looking at I just keep thinking back to all of the times when it's like, sell your possessions, give alms, don't hold on to your stuff. That your life is more than that. The life that I want you to receive, that I'm trying to teach you about here, that he keeps calling the kingdom of heaven, it doesn't involve gathering and being inquisitive and getting all this stuff. But you got it. Share it. Give it away. Be free with it. And so the dishonest manager in this story is doing that with somebody else's money, but he's building relationship. He's blessing all these people that he's discounting to. Here's an example of just sort of giving it away freely.
Yeah. Should we be giving things away that aren't ours, though?
Well, I mean, I think it's maybe it's humorous.
Yeah,
Maybe
it
it's
seems
intended.
humorous, yeah.
Maybe it's intended humorously, like the rich man's like, "Ooh,
Nice. Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought of that."
Yeah.
But I mean, it's an example of using wealth to build good relationships.
Yeah.
And I think there's that statement in there about that the children of this age are more shrewd in dealing with their own generation than are the children of light.
Yeah.
That we're maybe not as
Shrewd as we should be.
well, or not as creative in
Oh, that's certainly creative. Yeah.
using our wealth to,
Right, or other people's.
to bless it. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, whatever.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's just kind of silly.
It messes with your mind.
It
'cause
does
It works,
a little bit.
It works counter to the expectations in a
It does.
couple of ways.
Jesus tends to do that, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of on brand for Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gets your attention, makes you go, huh?
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we end here with Jesus saying, "No slave can serve two masters, for a slave will either hate the one and love the other, or be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and wealth." So what he's saying here, to me, he's saying, well, he's obviously relaying God and wealth as being the two masters there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's true today too. People tend to, especially in a capitalist society, we tend to hoard wealth because we don't know what's going to happen, or we think we need it to make our lives whole.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jesus isn't saying here to impoverish yourself, but we should act shrewdly with the wealth we have. And if we're using it to serve the true master, God, instead of whatever the world is telling us is master,
Mm-hmm.
then that's the correct way to use that.
Mm-hmm.
Am I reading that right?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, you've got these things, these possessions.
Mm-hmm.
In the one place it's sell what you have and give all, share it with others. The encouragement, we mentioned that again last week about not being wary of all kinds of greed.
Mm-hmm.
That tendency. I think you're right. There's the tendency to hoard it or to gather it to ourselves to maintain our security and our safety for the future. Like retirement planning. It's like, we're in a different culture.
Yep.
I'm doing retirement planning, but it always, I struggle with like, what raises the question, what do I need? You work in Social Security is set aside for you, and you put money into a pension or into a savings plan for retirement because you're not going to be working. You won't have regular income. And so we have a system set up to provide in those years when you're not working anymore. I think
Right.
that's valid and important, but you could imagine another way of doing things too,
Right.
where a community cares for one another and provides for those needs.
And I think that's the ideal that we're going for.
Mhm.
Maybe not as a culture right now,
Yeah.
but as a church, that's what we're called to do, is to be there for each other like that,
Mhm.
in that way. And that's what the ancient church used to be like. We hear, I believe in Acts, that everyone was giving their money away to each other, and they were living communally. So that's what the ancient church did, and it worked for them. But like you said, we're in a different culture now, where we don't have that expectation anymore. So it's a struggle to balance what we need and what we think we need.
Mhm.
I think it was St. Francis, and I am probably misquoting who said this, who said, if you own 2 shirts, one is yours and one belongs to the man who has no shirt.
Mhm.
And I think this is related to what we're saying here.
Mhm.
To be able to give our extra things to those who need it is a different kind of wealth. It's that treasure buried in a field.
Say more.
About
As a treasure buried in the field, what's the treasure buried in the field? And what you just
so
said?
the treasure is that which is stored up in heaven. Like Christ says, don't store up treasures on earth, but store up treasures where moth and rust and
Mhm.
stuff won't get to it, in heaven.
Mhm.
And maybe I'm misquoting again, but we'll be rewarded for that. So it's something to look forward to.
I think the relationship, or I think the reward also is being in that relationship already now.
Well, absolutely,
You
yeah.
know, so that's the gift of, you know, and the wealth, the holding on to things gets in the way of being fully in that relationship, and the gifts that flow from that,
Yeah.
the freedom that flows from that, the community that results from that. I mean, that he's building a kind of community here in a kind of odd way.
In a strange way,
in
he
this
is.
story.
Yeah.
And I think in our setting and in our culture, where we're every day told over and over again that whatever we have isn't enough.
Yep.
That to be full and to thrive and to be filled with life, you need this thing
Yep.
that I'm offering to you now.
Absolutely.
And so it's hard then to let go, because there's always this sense that what I need is more, not less.
Absolutely.
So I mean, I think this points, for us especially, I think this points to something that is really a difficult but critical question.
Yep.
Like we're not gonna just solve that.
No.
But to dig into it and stay focused on it is the invitation here.
C.S. Lewis, maybe should be a saint, but we'll see, says that the only way to know how much we should give is if we're able to not do something because of how much we're giving, to be a little uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that image that C.S. Lewis gives us. Yeah, I think that relates to this story.
And we don't maybe experience the reward of it until we step through that discomfort.
Absolutely.
To get to the other side of it.
Absolutely.
Well, that's an introduction anyway.
That is an introduction. We can keep going. I got so many more saint quotes. I'll give one more.
Okay.
This is Saint Ignatius of Loyola, I believe. It could be misquoting again. He says to give and not to count the cost. I just want to leave you with that image: to give and not to count the cost. What does that mean for your life? What are we hoarding in our lives that we can let go of?
Good.
Yep.
Dig into it. Keep wrestling with that story over the course of this week, and see where that leads you.
Good to see you guys.
Thanks for joining us today.
See you next week.